Hello and welcome to a very special episode of What Do You Call It podcast. I'm your host, GB. Today's guest is Pro Wrestling's elite athletes, leader of the Nova Nation. Please welcome Nova to What Do You Call It podcast. Nova, how's your week been so far? All good?
Oh, it's been a very, very busy week in the world of wrestling, and I've been great. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I know you've been busy with your wrestling career, and there are some moments that I do want to touch on. Only even a few months ago, you was actually on Ring of Honor Club, and you got to wrestle the crazy Abaddon. Big fan of her. I think she's crazy. I think you held your own, and it was in Canada as well. Can you just tell me about how she was as an opponent and the overall experience of being in ROH?
The experience was amazing. It was a very, very short match,
Yeah,
but the experience was it was amazing. Like honestly, I'm speechless, as you can see. There was a lot that went into that match. There was a lot more to think about when it came down to just the production and positioning and where to face doing this, where to face doing that. It was there was a whole lot more that was put into it, rather than being in an indie match
yeah.
example.
Quite a bit of detail to it. I think you got some offense in it. I know it's about what, about 2 minutes, minute and a half, but still that you got a spotlight in the match. The commentators discussed you as well, and I thought you got a good reaction from the crowd, even though they booed you because they liked Abaddon. But still, you made a name for yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. I got to get in some of my really good arsenal that I typically like to utilize in my matches. And we at the same time we had to make it work with regards to her character as well,
Yeah,
right? So we have her character, which is, scary, demonic, and then we have me that's, sporty and poppy and
mm.
you know what I mean? And but I was a heel in that match as well. So
No, it's fun. There is another character that you do have, by the way. It's on Demand Lucha,
yes, a
Logan
new
Kane.
character, yes.
Yes, I think that's a very interesting character. From like what I've seen, I think it's really interesting. For the listeners out there that might not be aware, if you can just explain Nova Kane to them, Nurse
Sure,
Kane.
sure. So the Black Widow nurse Novocaine only works with Demand Lucha, and that's based at the Parkdale Hall in downtown Toronto, Ontario, in Canada. They specifically sought me out for this position. They thought that I would be a really good fit. I don't know how they saw that, considering they only saw me as the elite athlete everywhere
Yeah,
else.
completely
But
180 how you are normally known as.
absolutely. So they have this group there called Los Medicos. And they as well are quite zombified, demonic, come from the lab type of
Yeah,
thing, right? And they wanted a heel female who's strong, evil, and basically led them. You know what I mean? They do her dirty work, and they wanted someone who was, a bad nurse, but with a little bit of Stacy Keebler in that, where there was some sexy involved. So they want me to, do some dirty stuff outside the ring, but then I can kick off my heels and go up on the top turnbuckle
yeah,
and then just completely murder somebody with a drop kick. And then the skirt rides up a little bit, and I got to pull it down. There's some sexy involved there as well. So that's how it got started. And then they started giving me my own matches.
hmm
We sexied it up a little bit more with my own kind of spin and look to it. And honestly, it's got so much pop. It really took off. It really took off.
yeah. The crowd are proper into it. Just seeing like even like the posters as well. It's such a unique gimmick, but completely 180, as I said, like to how you are normally known as and presented. And imagine that, like Nurse Nova Kane against Abaddon. I think that'd be brilliant. Like,
That would be very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, I wanted to just do complete opposite to what the elite athlete was.
yeah.
So elite athlete is fluorescent and pink and poppy. Well, let's just do complete opposite to that and do super dark, scary, demonic type of Nurse Novocaine.
Nah,
So
it's
good
awesome.
character challenge.
It's actually a bit of a sensational Sherry in there. And I know obviously you're quite familiar with her. So the fans might not know. If they do, awesome. But if they don't, you actually got to portray her in the latest season of Dark Side of the Ring.
Absolutely.
I thought that was a very hard watch, but I feel like her story needs to be told. to a larger audience, and I feel like she gets forgotten about sometimes and was very underrated. How was that sort of the opportunity given to you to portray one of the most famous, wrestling female
Yeah,
icons?
yeah. So I believe a couple years ago when Dark Side of the Ring first came out,
Mhm.
I believe there was an opportunity, and I barely remember this. There was an opportunity somewhere where I was able to enter my name in online and enroll myself in possible talent, and to be part of the cast and for them
Mm.
to cast me, and here's a promo photo of what I look like, and maybe they can use me for something. You know what I mean? And 2 years later or whatever, I get this email and it's, hey, we're casting for Sensational Sherry. This is from Vice TV Productions. And I was like, oh my God. Like I actually totally forgot for a second that I even signed up, right?
Yeah,
But I was like, wow, like what an opportunity, right?
yeah.
So yeah, I went in and we did, I think it was 3 full 12-hour days of just nonstop shooting. It was literally just like rotational. It was okay, you go in for your hair, you go in for your makeup, you go in for
Mhm.
your clothing, and we're going to go shoot, and then right back, hair, makeup. We did about, I would say, like in total of 3 12-hour days, I did probably 40 costume changes.
Bloody hell. And plus some
Like
of the bumps as well you must have had to do in the ring when you were Sensational Sherry.
absolutely. Actually, I really loved bumping in the ring when I was Sensational Sherry because when it comes to TV and doing stunt, there's a mat there,
Yeah.
so it was nice. I get a flare bump off the top, and it's like, oh, this didn't hurt at all. You know what I mean? I just landed on a mattress or something, so it
Oh,
was
wow.
great.
That's actually one of the better sides of it then. How was the reception that you received? I know the episode itself was well received. I personally liked it. I know the wrestling community online was well received. Everyone applauded it, and even those that weren't aware of her story were like kind of a bit gobsmacked, what she went through, but also what she achieved. But what
Yes.
reception did you receive for your performance? From people like, oh shit, that was really good from you. Oh, I didn't realize that was you, because you might not notice straight away, the makeup and the costume.
Of course, of course. No, I received all positive response, all positive reception. Everybody has been quite supportive with what I did, and I loved it so much that I am thinking about joining stunt school, and
Oh,
I
nice.
would absolutely love to work with Vice again in the
Yeah.
future if you need me for any other positions. Ideally, maybe like a China position or something like that, or maybe they're going to do a spinoff of Tessa. Who knows, right?
Mhm.
I'm thinking of myself and who I resemble.
No, no, fair enough. Don't be fair about that. I do hope you get some more episodes, and I'm sure they'll give you a call back. But I'm going to rewind the clocks and discover just before you became pro wrestling's elite athlete. I want to know, what was your first introduction to pro wrestling?
My first introduction to pro wrestling was with Rock Solid Wrestling, and they're based out of Sudbury, Ontario. So in late, I think 2018, I was in the gym and I was watching Raw on TV.
Mhm.
And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm not getting any younger. I kind of want to just run the ropes and see if I'm any good at this. You know what I mean? Like I had no intent to be like, hey, I want to, enroll into a career of pro wrestling. It was like, no, I already have my own career on the side. I want to just run the ropes and see if I'd be decent. That's all I wanted. I just wanted to check that off of a bucket list.
Yeah.
So I went online and again, I'm out of Sudbury, Ontario at the time. So I was doing a Google search as to what, indie wrestling promotions are around me, and lo and behold, Rock Solid Wrestling is there. They don't have their own facility in Sudbury, Ontario. Just the promoter resides in Sudbury, Ontario. So I ended up in contact with him. His name is Mark Bartolucci, and he's also known as El Tornado
Okay.
or Tornado in the indie wrestling world. And we were in contact for a while, and then he said, well, okay, let's meet up at a local Starbucks and I'll kind of talk to you more about the indie wrestling world, because I really didn't know much about it. I'm from a small town. All I know is what I saw on TV growing up,
Yeah.
which is like Raw, you know what I mean? So we ended up talking about that, and then we met over coffee, And I was like, you know what, this is something I'd want to try. You know what I mean? And he's like, just letting you know, like a lot of women in the biz don't stick around. You know, a lot of them, you know, you get punched in the face once accidentally and that kind of scares them away, right? So, you know, no one wants to really get punched in the face for a living. So
That's why I sit here.
so yeah. Anyways, so then Rock Solid Wrestling ended up doing, it was like a 2-day TV shoot for just making episodes for the local TV station there in Sudbury, Eastlink TV. And, you know, Mark Bartolucci said, come on by, just sit and watch. You know, we need to put some bodies in the audience anyways to kind of fill up the arena. So I was able to actually watch some indie wrestling. I remember Tyler Turba was there, Cody Deaner was there, Casey Spinelli was there, a lot of names.
Cody Deaner, lovely guy. I've had him on before. Really nice person.
Yeah. So, and then, yeah, I was absolutely interested in continuing. So my first actual hands-on experience with pro wrestling, or wrestling at the time, because I wasn't pro at the time, was literally just going, and this is going to sound super grimy, but we didn't have a ring in Sudbury. There's no ring in Sudbury. I have to travel 5 hours out south just to get to a ring. So first step is learning chain wrestling. Yeah. So I went to Mark's family home. He's got his family there, his wife, his kids. Okay, we're going to go to the basement. We're going to learn some chain wrestling. So I learned wrestling in a basement. So, and I went there maybe once or twice a week. He'd give me material to study, just the basic. I would video record myself with my phone so that I can, you know, I can see it visually when I go home, and I can just kind of replay it in my head. And then eventually, okay, got some chain wrestling down. Now let's just do a basic suplex. Well, he rolls out, you know, a mattress out of the bedroom, and I'm doing a suplex on him, you know, in his basement living room, trying not to, you know, hit his TV. So that's kind of how I started in wrestling, until it was like, okay, now I have to learn the universal. Now we need a ring. Okay, now I got to start traveling, you know, hours and hours just to get to a ring and learn the universal. And that's kind of where I built myself up that way.
That's such a unique story, because everyone just says, oh, I got straight in the ring, and then, you know, but yourself, you had to learn the chain wrestling first, and then, you know, just do it so often. But when you did get to the ring, and then, you know, did like the rolls and the bumps, and how did you find that at first?
It was interesting. I was very awkward, and sometimes I'm still awkward. Thankfully I have a lot of athletics in my background that kind of saved me. Otherwise, learning how to bump for my first time, I probably didn't do it properly. And when I began to bump more frequently in training, my body really started to feel it. Things were really starting to hurt, but I kept going. That's all you can do, is just keep going.
And it would pay off, you know. You've got the wrestling career that you have. We talked about some of your moments, but when did you make your in-ring debut, the first ever match that you had in front of a crowd?
April 2019. And it was in London, Ontario, with Smash Wrestling. So I absolutely have them to thank. And I absolutely have my old trainer, Tyson Dukes, to thank for that as well.
This is the Nina Samuels Show edition of the Whatchamacallit podcast. Or what you call it.
Your debut itself, how did it go? Do you have any friends or family there? Did they watch? Just the initial reaction that you did receive when you went back backstage after your match, how was that?
My in-ring debut was about, I would say, 6 hours south of where I am from. So I didn't have anybody there to really support me. And honestly, this is going to sound sad, but the majority of my wrestling career has had nobody come out and support me. That's been friends or family.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I'm traveling all over the place, unless I am back in my hometown of Sudbury, Ontario. Otherwise, if I'm anywhere else, I don't expect to see anybody that I know. It's just, I'm from a small town and I only know certain people, and I'm only, you know, family with certain people, and we're all back in Sudbury, Ontario. So when it came to my debut with Smash Wrestling, I didn't have anybody there, but I would say that the time that I spent with the Tyson Dukes Wrestling Factory and the students and everyone there, they became my wrestling family. So I'm very thankful that everyone was there and were supportive of me and my debut.
No, that's got in the UK. Like sometimes a lot of people have like their friends in the family, even like their nan and stuff, at their first ever match. So just, but it's cool to hear like different take as well. That like eventually the wrestling school and your trainers would become sort of your family as well. That's pretty cool to hear as well. Like,
Absolutely.
sort
Yeah.
of, you had that connection. How long had you been training for when you got the call for the tryout for WWE?
I would say maybe a couple months off and on, just because when it came down to needing a ring to train in, I had to commute 6 hours for 2 hours of training and then commute 6 hours home. So it was a very broken up type of training.
Yeah.
So I would say a couple months I was doing weekends here and there of training. And then I had my Smash debut. And then 2 weeks later, I was off to the WWE for tryouts. So things came super quick.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why, Nova, right? It's a supernova is an exploding star. So I literally, again, this all started with just like a fuck it in the gym. I'm like, fuck it. You know what? I just want to check the box off my bucket list and just run the rope. This is all it started to be. And then, all of a sudden here I am at the Performance Center in Florida trying out with Jade Cargill. You know what I mean? It's just wild.
That's mental. There's like wrestlers, like they will never get that call and never get the opportunity. If you just get it quite early on, that's amazing. You don't really hear that a lot. That's an achievement itself. The opportunity that you did get, if you could tell the listeners about the actual try itself, like how physically demanding was it, just the overall experience of the tryout camp.
Yes. So I was in shape. I'm in better shape now, but I was in real good shape back then. Like I was running obstacle course races. I was doing Spartan race. You know what I mean? I was doing boot camps outside to stay in shape. And I would say that the tryouts were pretty equivalent to that. You have to literally be in the best shape of your life, especially cardiovascular. They will push you to your limits. Absolutely. And what also doesn't help, and I wasn't used to because I'm from Canada, is the hot weather they have in Florida. So, we're not only doing tryouts inside in the ring, they're putting you outside as well, and you're doing stuff outside. And it is hot, and you have to stay hydrated and have lots of food with you. Like, you got to prepare for an entire day worth of physical exercise. Like, you can't take a break when you want to take a break. You can't drink water when you want to drink water. I would say it was semi-militant. I mean, you have to be very good at listening to direction. You have to be a team player. You have to encourage your teammates. I know that they're your competition.
Yeah.
But you have to show that, you have really good team spirit. You're there supportive of other people as well. Because at the end of the day, this is a job. They want to see that you can work well with others. Yeah. So yes, it's a tryout, but it's also a job. It's going to be a future job of yours. They want you to be able to get along with your coworkers and stuff like that too, right? So there's a lot of things involved, and you have to have your mind right. You have to just have your mind clear and be physically and mentally ready to go.
Yeah, I suppose as well, like because you've got to work with each other eventually. In the ring, you got to trust each other, and they want to probably see that as well. That okay, yeah, we can trust her. She can work with anyone. She can get on with anyone.
Yeah, and that was interesting too with regards to trusting your partner in the ring, because during tryouts there were two groups of people, like other than the men and the women.
Yeah,
there was two groups. There was experienced wrestlers. You guys go in this group, and then there was freak athletes, just new athletes, and people who have never wrestled before. You guys go in this group. So, because again, if you get selected, the Performance Center will train you.
Yeah.
So me being literally new to the pro wrestling world, and I only had, I think, 2 matches before I went to the Performance Center, because I had my debut.
Yeah.
And then I had one other match the next night with Smash Wrestling. So I only had like 2 matches. And then I went to tryouts. So I'm thinking, like, I'm still super green. I don't know anything. I'm definitely going with the group of people who are just like athletes. Because that's kind of what I was entered in as anyways, when they gave me, like, when they submitted my biography. They talked about my college volleyball career and my obstacle course racing competitions and stuff like that, right? So I'm like, yeah, I'm just an athlete. That's all I am. I'm not a wrestler. I'm an athlete. So I expected to go in with like Jade and everyone else who hasn't wrestled before. And no, they're like, no, you go like the wrestlers. So like, okay, you know what I mean? So that's kind of how it started. And so, yeah, you have to really be able to trust your opponents. Your opponents have to trust you. And at the time I had, fundamentals down, right? But that's about it. It was an interesting experience.
What was the best advice that you did receive throughout the tryout?
That's a good question. I have to think back a few years now. I would say the best advice, I can't remember who said it to me. I know, you know what? It wasn't even by a trainer. It was by a fellow opponent. And it was just continue. No matter who the person is, no matter if they're your opponent or whatnot, at the end of the day, the people that are at tryouts and the people that are going to be in the locker room with you, they're your coworkers. They're your opponents, but they're your coworkers. And just continue to, come in with a good attitude and support them and be supportive. You guys have to trust each other. So just continue to encourage your opponents and your coworkers in the locker room.
Nice. That's just
so
it.
So throughout the tryout, you're literally, you got somebody up in the ring and they're trying out a certain move that you're being told to do, and you're standing on the sidelines, you're cheering. You know what I mean? So so, and I was kind of quite quiet back then, but I think that really helped me break out of my shell as well, seeing that, okay, there's other people around me that are being loud too. Let's try this. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was a bit of an introvert entering into the pro wrestling world, but I have definitely broken out of my shell now that I have, performed in front of so many people for so many years now. So
nice. I like that you've remained positive, since the tryout, and it just sounds like one hell of an experience that you got to be a part of, and some good memories from that. But in your wrestling career, where you are now, what would you say, just looking back, just a few personal highlights you think that was awesome? Oh, I got to do that. Great memories. Just top of your head in your wrestling career.
Yeah. I would say top of my head is taking my very, very first pile driver from Tommy Dreamer that just happened not too long ago.
Is that when you were a nurse, Novocaine?
Yes.
Yes, I've seen that.
Yeah, I low key always told myself I probably wouldn't take a pile driver from anybody.
Yeah.
Unless I really, really trusted them, because I'm scared. It's honestly, it's not worth it. You fuck up your neck and there goes the rest of your career, right? There goes the rest of your anything. So I always told myself that I would have to really trust somebody to take a pile driver. So I would say that's one highlight, is just taking my very first pile driver from Tommy Dreamer. I had my neck bit by Gangrel. You know what I mean? I got to boot Microman halfway across the ring because he's so little. You know what I mean? It's just there's some. I would say
so popular as well, though. It's like I love it. I love it.
It's wild because a lot of my major career highlights in my mind are as Nurse Novocaine. I've had a lot of really good opportunities as Nurse Novocaine. But yeah, and even again, working my very first American show in Pittsburgh a couple months ago against Danny Moe and Zoe Sky. And yeah, it's been a wild ride as Nurse Novocaine. I've had a lot of good opportunities, but I'm hoping to continue these opportunities as the Elite Athlete Nova. And the last couple of days, I have been working Zoe Sky here locally in Toronto. We're on a 2-week or 3-week contract with the CNE, the Canadian National Exhibition.
Oh, nice.
So right now, which is a really cool opportunity for local indie wrestlers, is that we're able to actually work full time as wrestlers right now with this contract, with this wrestling contract. There's 3 matches a day. There's 3 shows a day at this festival. So there's a lot of talent being flown in. Trent Seven, Jerry the King Lawler, Tito Santana, the
Yeah.
Mountie Jacques Rougeau,
Oh, I
Jimmy
love Jacques
Hart.
Rougeau. Yes. So you're part of
Yeah.
the academy as well, wasn't you?
Pardon me?
Oh, you're part of his wrestling academy, wasn't you? Jacques Rougeau's this year. I saw you do a promo.
Yes, I ended up originally enrolling myself
Yeah.
as competition for the academy. However, almost as quickly as I enrolled, I ended up pulling out just
Ah.
to life getting in the way.
No, no.
I couldn't give my 100% focus to this tournament,
Yeah.
but maybe next year.
Yeah.
If I'm choosing to do something, I need to be able to be 100% all in on whatever I do. I never want to give somebody 50% of my time and my effort. Again, my memories and my experiences and highlights, they're continuing as we speak. Everything is it's ongoing right now because of everything that's going on in the indie wrestling world in Ontario, Canada.
What was like the main difference when you wrestled in America and then in comparison to Canada? So what's the first thing you notice? Like what the crowd like, what the wrestling like, just how they call matches, just any significant differences that you notice? Like, oh,
Absolutely. I'm gonna say it brought back a lot of memories to when I was a Canadian volleyball player, you know, playing college ball and traveling. I traveled to Hawaii to train and compete against some American volleyball players there. So honestly, my experience wrestling in America was the same competing in volleyball in America. Americans are units. Like they're freak athletes.
yeah,
So yeah. So like when I was in college playing volleyball, traveling to the States, I think we were playing against like high school girls and they just killed us. And they were huge. So then, yeah, traveling to Pittsburgh and wrestling the opponents I had, like their level of experience is like up here and I'm down here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, why? First off, I'm asking myself, why am I here? How did I get this opportunity? You know what I mean? Like these girls are so good. I'm going to learn. I'm like, yes, I'm going to learn so much. My mind's open. I'm absolutely open to learning everything from them and hearing their feedback. But yeah, the level of experience in America, I find, depending on the promotion, of course, is far more than what I was experiencing in Ontario.
wicked. Just one or two more questions, and then I'll let you enjoy the rest of your day because I know it's still early afternoon. But it's been a really good chat. Do you have any plans to travel outside of Canada and America? Maybe Japan, Mexico, the UK, Spain. Just is there any on top of your mind? Like, oh yeah, I'm going to pinpoint that in the globe, and then yeah, I'd like to travel there.
I would absolutely love to get some wrestling experience in Mexico if I can make that happen. It's very difficult. Like right now, I am juggling. I'm essentially wrestling full time right now, but I'm also working full time in my shoot job. So, and that's in shift work as well. Or sorry, that's in shift work. And so I'm really trying to juggle both of them. I don't know if I would have a lot of time to be able to commit to go to a different country and learn at this point in my life, unless something drastically changes, which I am totally open to. I do see, you know, my wrestling career still taking off. So I'm absolutely open to new opportunities. So it's honestly in my life right now, it's a day by day basis. And but I would absolutely be open to maybe trying Mexico first and then going from there.
That's sweet, sweet. What is it about Mexico, by the way, that makes you want to go over there over other countries? Is there like a specific wrestling company or any specific wrestlers even?
Not specific wrestling company, but I think it's because of all of the Mexican wrestlers that have been flown out to Toronto for Demand Lucha.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So when I've been working as Nurse Novocaine, I've been encountering a lot of wrestlers that have been flown in from Mexico, and I just like their style. I love jumping off the top turnbuckle. I want to learn how to flip more. Like I like that shit. I just do, and I just like how everything is just so technical with them. And yeah, I just I like what I see, and I'd like to start there.
Wicked, wicked. Last question. It's a fun question. It doesn't have to be wrestling related. You're the host. 3 dream dinner guests. But your dream party, it could be past or present, fiction, non-fiction. It could be about wrestlers, past or present, or anyone or anything to do with music. Up to you. You're the host. 3 guests. Go.
3 guests.
3 guests.
3 guests. And it doesn't matter if it's wrestling or not.
Nope.
I'm gonna say Davey Havok from AFI, the lead singer. I'm a huge AFI fan, and I would
Nice.
love to talk to him one day, and I might crush on him a little bit. Tessa Blanchard, 100%.
Yeah.
I fucking love her. Like, I absolutely love her. I love watching her wrestle. I want to meet her one day. I'll probably cry. And
That explains why you want to go to Mexico as well. Another reason.
yeah. And Jeff Hardy, because Jeff Hardy is the reason why I fell in love with wrestling.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm from Canada. Like I think 'cause I'm so used to like the rest of saying like Bret Hart, Owen Hart, Edge or
Yeah,
Chris.
I mean them too.
Yeah.
Them
But no,
too.
Jeff Hardy. Fair. No, Rock's not the wrong answer. I think
Yes. The next move that I want to learn is the Swanton Bomb. So
Yeah.
I want to be able to do that in the ring. So.
Hopefully, I'll see it on your social media. A Swanton Bomb, maybe some lucha wrestling, and just I think your journey's just going to get better and better. And just I think it's great
I
content.
hope so. I hope so.
But it's been a pleasure speaking to you. I know you've obviously been very, very busy, so I do genuinely appreciate your time and your patience as well. And it's been a fun interview. Got to learn about you and have a good laugh as well. So it's been really good chat. Where can the listeners find you at Nova on social media if they want to keep up to date with your journey?
Sure. I have Nova Wrestler as part of my moniker on pretty much every social media platform.
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty when I became a wrestler, Tyson Dukes was like, all right, you gotta have social media. And I didn't have social media at all. So he's like, hey, you gotta make it now. So, and I didn't know like what to put. So I'm just like, okay, I'll just make this super simple. Nova Wrestler. I don't know. So it sounds kind of silly, but you know what? It's very simple for people to find now. So Nova Wrestler. So Instagram, Nova Wrestler, Twitter, Nova Wrestler, Facebook, Nova Wrestler, YouTube, LinkedIn, you'll find me.
Wicked. And is there any shows or any promos you want to cut in any wrestlers? Anything you want to advertise? The opportunity's yours because we're now at the end of the interview.
So the next couple shows that I have coming up, what are we today? Tuesday. Okay. So I'm right now with Classic Championship Wrestling, CCW. And again, we have a contract with the CNE, the Canadian National Exhibition, for the next couple of weeks up until Labor Day weekend. So you can see me there. It's going on. I'm not working every day, but it's going on every day, 3 shows a day up until Labor Day. On Saturday, so again, we're Tuesday. So this Saturday, I will be with Destiny Wrestling in Vaughan, Ontario for the Way Back 90s Nostalgia Music Festival.
Nice.
On Sunday, the following day, I'll be in Kitchener, Ontario with Off the Rope Studio. And then next week, again, I probably throughout the week, I will be in Toronto, Ontario, downtown at the CNE.
Wicked. If the listeners out there missing that details, I will put Nova's social media handles in the description below. You can like this video, subscribe to his channel, give me a follow on my social media handles in the description below also. But for now, everyone, I hope you all have a great weekend. Sorry about the visual effects. I only just noticed it near the end. It looks like the fucking Matrix. Sorry about that. It wasn't intentional, so I do apologize. So if that was distracting, but it's not going to disrupt your enjoyment of this interview. Have a great week, everyone. Peace.
Thank you.